Gentlemen, as I said, it is finally another World Cup Wednesday, which, by the way, if you guys are new to my channel and you have no idea what the series is about, essentially what we do in the series is we talk about a nation going to the 2022 World Cup. We talk about absolutely everything you need to know, from the players to the manager to their group at the World Cup, and ultimately what the best possible starting 11 heading to the World Cup is. And today we're going to be talking about Spain, absolute football giants. And I'm going to say this, I know it sounds like a giant football claim to say, but I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Spanish national team. I mean, heading into this World Cup, they have just won 2 silver medals, obviously coming second place in the Summer Olympics and coming second place in the recent Nations League. The Spanish national team is not one to sleep on, and I think a lot of people are at the moment. I mean, in my personal opinion, they're a team with the perfect mixture of experience, of youth, of talent, of absolutely everything positive about a national team, and I think Spain are going to shock the world. Now, obviously, looking at the Spanish national team before we head further in depth about them, let me remind you guys that if you obviously do enjoy these World Cup videos, to please do like and subscribe down below. I know it's very typical YouTube stuff to say, but I mean, what can I say? It does help the channel out, so please make sure to do so, along with commenting another nation you want me to talk about down below. But heading into the Spanish national team, they without a doubt will do better than the previous World Cup in my opinion. Obviously, looking at the 2018 World Cup, they kind of crashed and burned out, since, I mean, the only way to describe it is Cristiano Ronaldo absolutely ruined David De Gea's career.
He's out of line, but he's right.
But obviously since then, maybe it's the fact that they've dropped David De Gea, Spain has looked like a much better national team. They've got a lot more consistency to them when it comes to their performances. They look a lot more solid, and as a team they just seem to be playing a lot better. And heading into this World Cup, in terms of their group for the 2022 World Cup, I mean, it's not the most difficult group, it's not the easiest group, it's kind of the, if you could call it, the Goldilocks group of the World Cup, because looking at their group, they were in there with the likes of Germany, Japan and Costa Rica. As I said, I wouldn't say that they're quite favourites to win it. I feel like they will be competing with the Germans for their top spot, but they should definitely have no excuse but to make it within the top 2. I do think looking at Japan though, they definitely have a lot of up and coming young talent in their team, and they could surprise a team like Spain. But looking at them, Spain should still have a better team, even versus Costa Rica with one of the best goalkeepers in the world. There is no excuse but for Spain to win it, and I feel like if Spain just continue playing their typical TIKI Spanish football, I do feel like on the day there is a better style of football and they should get the result. Now jumping into what I believe is the best possible starting 11 for Spain heading into this World Cup, which yes, it is a different outfit, it is a new day, don't question it. But starting off with the formation that I believe Spain needs to use, I do think it has to be a 4-3-3 formation with a holding midfielder. Once again, it's a formation and system that is synonymous with Spanish football, both club and country. It has been viewed as widely successful throughout history, so I don't see why you would change it. In terms of a goalkeeper, I believe Unai Simon needs to be the main goalkeeper for Spain. Once again, it tears my Manchester United heart apart to say something like that. I mean, if it wasn't for David De Gea, Manchester United would be in the 3rd tier of English football at this stage. This man has saved Manchester United. But obviously, Luis Enrique has come out to say that he doesn't choose David De Gea because he doesn't view him as reliable enough in terms of his distribution. And he finds that a goalkeeper like Unai Simon just suits the team better, which, excuse me, that's a bit rude. Which at the end of the day, as much as I love good old David De Gea, good old Dave saves, looking at a player like Unai Simon, he's only 25 years old, for the Spanish national team, he's gotten 12 clean sheets in 27 games. This season in La Liga, he's gotten 4 clean sheets in 8 games. This man is a man on form, he was brilliant in the Euros, although you don't normally associate Seaman with clean sheets. This time it is an exception.
I don't know, I think that's a bit dodgy, mate.
And unfortunately for David De Gea, Unai Simon just has to be the main man, although I would argue David De Gea should at least go to the World Cup. Now, obviously in front of a very reliable goalkeeper, you do need a very reliable back 4. And in terms of the back 4 I've gone for, in terms of the 2 fullbacks, I've gone for Jordi Alba and Dani Carvajal. Yes, I know many people describe them as 2 dinosaur fullbacks, but they are the most reliable. I should probably let my cat out my room. I've gone for Jordi Alba on the left side and Dani Carvajal on the right side. Yes, I know, 2 dinosaur fullbacks for the Spanish national team, but as far as reliable fullbacks go, these are the players Spain needs to pick. I understand that in both positions you do get better attacking options, you do get better defensive options, but as complete fullbacks who can do it both, I believe that this is the perfect partnership. In terms of Dani Carvajal, yes, as I said, you do get better attacking and defensive options. I mean, for an attacking option, you could go for someone like Bellerin, you could go for Azpilicueta for a defensive option, but Carvajal has shown over and over again that as a complete fullback, he's one of the best, most underrated right backs in world football. He was a huge reason to why Real Madrid won their recent Champions League, and you just can't leave a player like him out of the squad. It would be criminal. In terms of the left back side, I've gone for Jordi Alba. Once again, you could go for Cucurella, you could go for Gaia, you could go for one or two other players, but as a complete fullback, there's just no other like Jordi Alba. I mean, for his 86 appearances for the Spanish national team, which itself is a huge achievement, he's gotten 10 goals and 19 assists from a fullback. That is a goal contribution in every 3 games for the Spanish national team. I get he's 33 years old, but his kind of leadership, what he brings to the pitch, it is instrumental to Spain having success. Now, obviously, between two brilliant fullback options, you do need a solid centre-back partnership. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I really wanted to have fun, where I wanted to take a risk or two. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, I did decide to play it safe, as I've gone for Aymeric Laporte and Pau Torres. Now, when I say I wanted to have fun with it, I did want to choose Sergio Ramos. And in fact, I asked you guys on my community tab whether Sergio Ramos should return to this team, and you guys 100% agreed so. Well, I say 100, when I checked it was like 54%, but majority of you guys think that a player like Sergio Ramos should return, which I don't see why not. Even as a starting centre-back, if he's not a starting player, at least bring him onto the bench. I understand over the last 2 years, he was injured in his final season at Real Madrid, and he was injured last season for PSG, but now that he is back and that he is fit, I mean, he's been brilliant for PSG so far. As we know, he's a very reliable centre-back, so what if he can get 2 red cards a game? At the end of the day, he's also got scoring ability, he's got true leadership, and at least as the bench option, as that experience, he needs to be added to the squad. But the reason I've gone for Laporte and Pau Torres is because looking under Luis Enrique, there have been the 2 main centre-back partnerships for him, and I mean, they've done so well under him, I don't see why you would break that, not even for a player like Sergio Ramos. So as I said, I feel like these are the 2 best centre-backs going forward. Looking at Laporte, I mean, he has been overshadowed with the kind of talent there is at Man City. I mean, you've got a Kanji, you've got Nathan Ake, you've got John Stones, you've got Ruben Dias. There is a lot of competition.
Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one.
But at the end of the day, him swapping in international allegiances from France to Spain might have been the best decision he's ever made. I mean, in his 15 games for Spain so far, he's gotten 8 clean sheets. And as I said, even with all the competition at Man City, he has still proven a point. I mean, defensively, he's very reliable. And if he can stay injury-free, he is the best option. He's probably the reason why Spain haven't missed Sergio Ramos, which, by the way, heading into this World Cup, if they could make that a partnership, it would be crazy. As I said, looking at the other centre-back, it has to be Pau Torres, and I feel like a huge reason why I'm putting him in here is because I feel like he really complements Aymeric Laporte's style of play. I mean, I feel like both of them together are very, very consistent. I feel like both of them are very smart when it comes to their distribution. They're very intelligent footballers, and when both need to be, they can be ruthless and they can take down the opposition's attacker. These 2 centre-backs are absolutely brilliant and need to start for Spain, in my opinion. Now, of course, now that we've spoken about a very solid defensive wall for Spain, you just have to talk about what is essentially the creme de la creme of every Spanish national team, the midfield, or whatever the Spanish equivalent of a creme de la creme is. I have no idea.
I don't know, Jeff.
But heading into the Spanish national team, as we know, for years upon years, this has kind of been the most fundamental part of any Spanish national team. And I believe I've built something quite special in terms of the 3 midfielders. I've gone for Pedri on one side, I've gone for Liverpool's Thiago on one side, let me explain in a second, and Rodri as the holding midfielder. Now yes, I know I'm going to get raging Barcelona fans in my ears asking where Sergio Busquets is. Trust me, I know Sergio Busquets is an absolutely leader of the ball. As we know, when it came to the Euros, he was brilliant despite his age, one of the most legendary defensive midfielders I would say of all time, and one of the best defensive midfielders in, well, just modern football, even historic football. The man is an absolute legend. But at the end of the day, he is slightly slower, and although he was brilliant at the Euros, I think Rodri might just be the best defensive midfielder in world football. As we know, when it comes to his ability to score, his ability to assist, I mean, you wouldn't describe him as a defensive midfielder. Getting 3 assists in 8 Premier League games so far this season, which, I mean, not hard to get an assist for City when Erling Haaland's up front. You just need to whack it forward.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
But last season, 7 goals, once again, I think was also 3 assists in the Premier League. In terms of goal contributions, he plays a major role. He's got a lot of pace behind him. As I said, his distribution's brilliant. And in terms of the Spanish national team, if you're a brilliant passer of the game, you fit the team perfectly. And that's why I think Rodri fits the team well. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, when I do make these videos, it's not necessarily a prediction of what I think the teams will look like at the World Cup. It's not a prediction of what I think the starting 11 will look like. It's what I believe is honestly, on paper, the best team heading into the World Cup. It is what I think individual-wise is the best team. And as I said, I just think individually at the moment, Rodri is better than Busquets. Obviously, heading into the next two midfielders. As I said, I had to go for Pedri.
You have saved our lives. We are eternally grateful.
Once again, it's not a player that I should have to give an explanation. As we know, he's absolutely brilliant. At 19 years old, he's already had like 57 appearances for Barcelona. This man will captain that team one day. I mean, he might even captain the Spanish national team one day. In terms of Spain, he's played so many games already. I mean, about 2 years ago, he played every single game in a calendar year. From every Olympics game to every Euro game to every game for Barcelona. That man, he is incredible. And I'm dubbing him the next Iniesta, although I'm sure many people have already. But Pedri, the Golden Ball winner, I think when I had to build this team from scratch, when I pulled out my notebook, he was the first name I had to write on this team. Now, obviously, looking at the third and final midfielder, as I said, I went for Thiago, which I know is a very, very weird one. People are either going to argue with or against him. I know he's one of those players that you either love or hate. And I know a lot of people are going to be asking for Gavi from Barcelona.
Where are we?
Killing is making a choice.
Which I don't dispute that. I do think he is a brilliant player, and much like Busquets, I don't think would be a downfall to the team if you added them to the midfield. I think Gavi, looking at him at only 17, 18 years old, is a brilliant attacking option, but looking at a player like Thiago, I feel like he would be the midfield maestro. In terms of creative ability, I mean, what he's done for Liverpool over the last 2 years, his improvements that we've seen, he is a brilliant player and one of the best creative players out there in world football. Once again, he's one of those players, much like any other Spanish player in this team by the looks of things. When he is match fit, he is brilliant, but he never really seems to be match fit. Always struggling with injuries, but if he is ready for this game, would be vital. So of course, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much it for my midfield three. I think it's got a good mix of balance in it, with defensive brilliance from Rodri, as we know, attacking capabilities of Pedri, and as I said, the midfield maestro that kind of strings it all together with Thiago. Let me know what you think. As I said, there are a lot of players that I could have put in this team, from Fabian Ruiz to Gavi to Soler and so many others, but unfortunately I could only put three. But ladies and gentlemen, that takes us to our attacking three. Once again, the most interesting part of this national team, and I just had to put Ansu Fati in the left wing side, which Fati, by the way, my nickname in high school, so I'm quite reminiscent of a player like Ansu. But looking at Ansu Fati, now that he is back from injury, the 19-year-old looks better than ever. One of the top assist makers in the league at the moment, and he's looking really, really good. 2 goals and 3 assists in 8 games, not bad for him. I mean, he last played for Spain in 2020 due to his injuries, so he might take a tiny bit of time to warm up. But as we know, one of the best young left wings in the world at the moment, he just had to start, in my opinion. Now, looking at the right wing side, once again, there were a few options I could have gone for. I could have gone for a player like Nico Williams. I could have gone for someone like Ferran Torres. There are so many players I could have gone for, but I've gone for Dani Olmo.
Say, hold up, wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Now, yes, I know I might get a lot of criticism from people saying,
Finn, he's not a right winger, he's an attacking midfielder.
he's a left winger. But interestingly enough, looking at a player like Dani Olmo, he has played 50 games of his career in the right wing position, and looking at him for Spain, he's only played 2 out of his 26 games in the right wing position, but he's gotten 3 assists, more assists than he has in any other position for Spain.
You serious?
So weirdly enough, although it's not his traditional position, it just seems to be the best position he has for Spain. And to be honest, I think it's the best option that Spain has. When he plays for Spain, he always has a goal, he always has an assist, he always does something special, and he just needs to play. But ladies and gentlemen, that takes us to the very interesting part of the Spanish national team, with the number 9, with the striker up front. Now yes, there were so many options. I was even tempted to put someone like Diego Costa back in this team. You could go for Jared Moreno, you could go for Aspas, you could go for so many brilliant players, but at the end of the day, I can't believe I'm saying this, I've gone for Alvaro Morata. Yes, Alvaro Morata, the player who constantly doesn't just perform when it comes to club level, but looking at a striker in terms of the Spanish national team, he's definitely the most consistent. I mean, number-wise, 27 goals in 54 Spanish national team games, 4 goals in 8 games in La Liga for Atletico Madrid so far this season. At the end of the day, as much as we love to turn Alvaro Morata into a meme, at the end of the day, he is a very solid striker when it comes to the Spanish national team, and he probably would start, or should start. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much it for today's video. I mean, in terms of the starting 11, I do think that it is a really, really good choice. I mean, obviously I made the team, I would say so. But at the end of the day, if you look at the way that this team is set up and the way that Luis Enrique could play with this team, in terms of two fullbacks, although dinosaurs of the game, they are a proper example of modern day fullbacks. Fullbacks are really solid defensively, but can get up and get crosses into the box. In terms of a striker, yes, I know Alvaro Morata isn't the most lethal one out there, but with Dani Olmo on one side and with Ansu Fati on the other side, they can almost work inwards and help him as second striker options. In terms of a midfield, as I said, I think it's got the perfect midfield 3 balance, and just as a team as a whole, I feel like it could be super solid. But I hope that you guys did end up enjoying this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below if you did do so, along with commenting another nation you want me to talk about down below. But guys, this has been Finn, FYNN. Until next time, cheers.